Welcome to the Strategy Mob Podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Strategy Mob. Today I have two very special guests just from the other side of the border. Wish I can come see you guys, but hopefully we'll do that soon. I have the one and only Mr. Lou Ramirez and the oh-so-famous Fredrick Lennartz. Guys,
hello.
What's going on?
Man,
what's going on?
Living the dream. Happy to be here, Jason. Happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to jam with me. I know we're going to have tons of fun. Look, we're all car guys. We've been in this business for a long time. So, we'll try to keep the 4-letter words and the 3-letter acronyms down to somewhat of a minimum. No, we won't. I can even say it with a straight face. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No doubt.
But hey, guys, before we kick off this podcast, I thought it'd be kind of fun to start off with some origin stories. So for everyone out there that don't know kind of how you guys got started, I thought this would be a fun way to do it. So Lou, I'll start with you. How did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Great question. We actually have to take it back to when I was in the military and I was processing out and I was trying to actually get completely cleared from the Army. And I ran into who was the president of the board when I got promoted to sergeant and won Soldier of the Year board, and was also my commandant inside of leadership school, or PLDC. And he's from Brooklyn, and he reminded me of my stepfather a lot. And we just ran into each other, and I'm carrying my big folder full of clearing papers. And he said, well, what are you getting ready to do? And I said, well, I'm waiting for the post office to call me. I'm going to stay here in Kentucky and build my family and go from there. And he said, well, Ramirez, I hate to see you get out. And if this is definitely where you're going, I see you got your clearing papers. You need to go talk to my daughter, or go talk to them at the dealership that my daughter is working at. And I said, okay, Sergeant Major, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good life. Went on. And then about a week later, I saw an ad that said, hey, make, $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Just go talk to this guy and this guy and, rock it out. I said, hey, that was the same dealership that Sergeant Major Desario told me to go check out. So I went over, interviewed, and boom, there I was in the car business. And not too much later, I developed the whole idea behind the car guy and started just doing marketing, teamed up with my brother right here. And I mean, we just been having fun in this business ever since. I mean, it was a quick transition out of nowhere. It wasn't on my radar at all, as it hasn't been for, I think, many, many people until they answered an ad.
No, you're 100% right. I think most people just kind of like trip or tumble or fall their way, or in my case, got conned. I did. I had a roommate at the time. They're like, hey, Jay, you like selling shit, right? I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. I like selling stuff. Like, hey, we want to sell cars. You like cars? I said, I love cars. Yeah, all right, I'll try that out. Little did I know the guy got paid a $500 check if I stayed for 90 days. So it was like, it had nothing to do with that. He knew I was a good salesman, or if I loved cars. It was just like, there's somebody with a pulse and he's in my vicinity, so why don't you come work in my dealership? I get paid $500. But hey, Lou, for yourself, Fredrick, for yourself, how did you get started in the car business?
Very similar in a sense. I was prior military. I was in the Air Force for 4 years. I got out, and I was going to school. I was kind of in a transition phase. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was kind of going to college, kind of working. Enjoying life, going out every night, having fun. Well, one night I'm at a friend's house. I should say I was with a friend at someone's house, and I was at this house. It was a nice place. Everything was, good decoration for a single dude. He had a lot of nice stuff in there, and his name was Clint Riggs, and he's somebody that's still traveling. He's somebody we both have been underneath. He's been our manager at one point, but Clinton Riggs, I was sitting there and I'm talking to this guy, and I'm starting to, get to know who this person is and who owns this place. I was like, man, you got a nice place here. What do you do for a living? He's like, oh, dog, what I'm saying? This is how he talks. Still does. Nah, dog, what I'm saying? This is like, it's straight out of
the middle.
Man, I sell cars. I'm the finance manager of this thing. I was like, well, how much money can you make doing that? He goes, man, I make 6 figures. I was like, wow. I was like, where'd you go to school for this? He goes, I didn't even graduate high school, homie. I'm like, what? I'm like, so how do I get this job? So at the time I wasn't super motivated for like a full-time job. So I was like, but it always was in the back of my head was like, man, if this guy can do it, there's no doubt I can do it. So as time went by, that's when I met my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. And, we started dating, and then, things got serious, and I was like, okay, I need to do something besides just do what I'm doing, floating through life. So I went and I applied at the same store he's talking about. I saw the same ad. And this was about a year before Lou. It's right around a year before Lou came in. And I went in, put on my best suit, best tie, walked inside there, and got hired same day. And then, so it's been history ever since. I've loved it. It was a Mitsubishi Hyundai stores, actually.
It was a Mitsubishi Hyundai
Isuzu. Isuzu was in that model.
To say hello, thank you for calling.
Yeah, we had those three brands sitting right there in one thing. So that's where we started off, was a Mitsubishi Hyundai Isuzu store, and so it's been fun. Lou came in a year later, and like he said, exactly, he came in and man, he shook the floor up. I came in, I shook it up. He came in and he really shook it up. I was like, okay. I had the opportunity to train Lou. I was his floor manager at the time, even just a year in. But he came out and just was so impressive that it made me have to step up my game, which in turn we became really close because of it. I was like, we became real good friends. We like family. Our kids hung out with each other, so on and so forth. And so it's been history ever since, almost 20 years now.
Became battle buddies from there.
Battle buddies.
Splitting all our deals, working each other's customers.
Splitting all your deals? No, that's a real tight relationship there. I do remember.
Not all of our deals.
Not all of them. Okay. Not all of them.
Not all of them. But it's like, if somebody came for me, they knew Fred's going to handle them.
Yeah, there was no one else working my deal unless.
Well, you know what? I think that's the way it's supposed to be, guys. Right. Like it really is. Look, I've had the opportunity to visit thousands of dealerships, both in the United States and in Canada and across and abroad. And I tell you that tight, that commodity, that best friend kind of, team effort, man, that's what makes a big difference. And you can see it. And what's funny? You can feel it when you walk to the door. Yes. It's like, 'cause it's like, it doesn't matter, there's not a fight of who's ups who. I mean, guys, I legitimately remember a fist fight breaking out at my first dealership. And it was like, I swear it was like the first month I was there. I was like, whoa, what the hell kind of business did I get myself into? Like, these guys got into it. I remember that it was like the guy sold a Silverado, and it was supposed to be the other guy's customer or something like that. And they straight up went out in the back, got into a fist fight over the damn commission. And so I mean, it's cool that you guys had each other like that. You guys were able to watch each other's backs, and and both kind of help and support each other's
and we still
careers.
Competed. I mean, we still compete.
Well, of course, right?
I wanted to beat him every month. He'd have a 20 grand month, and I'm like, I want to do 21. I'm gonna beat you, bro. Let's keep going. But but it was never like, hey, now you're right. On the floor, it was dog eat dog. That's why it was good to team up with somebody, because when you had somebody that had your back just like you had theirs and truly did, like it wasn't just talk. You actually had each other's back. Like, hey man, when you're not here, I'm gonna make sure no one's gonna mess with your deals, or no one's gonna get a half deal because they come in and they needed help with something. We're gonna make sure you're taken care of, and that's what we did for each other.
And you trusted their ability, because sometimes you can have a lopsided partnership where it's like, I really rather you not have my customer.
Yeah, you teamed up with the guy who can't close a book. You know what I mean?
And so you're like, oh, okay. But every time you add something, that's done, I'm going to get over here. If I had his customer, he knows that that's done. That's going to get closed. So it was a very great balance.
That had to be like incredibly beneficial for the customer, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, I this dog eat dog, kind of floor that has been, well, pretty much the way we've run dealerships for, probably the last 60, 70 years. I think a lot of dealerships are opening their eyes to realize that is probably not the best way to do it. And you know what the funny thing is? The person that actually ends up getting hurt is the dealership and the customer.
That's right.
And because here's the thing that I've realized through all my traveling is happy employees make happy customers. All right, you know what I mean?
So true, Jason.
Like,
so true.
If it's straight up dog eat dog all the time, like I'm telling you, those people aren't overly happy. Because they're constantly having to watch out for numero uno. It's like me. It's like, what do I get out of this deal? Not what can I give to the customer in the form of an experience. It's like, what can I get? And I think that's good. We're getting right into today's topic, and I kind of want to get both of you guys' thoughts and opinions on this. And right now with the pandemic, and with with dealerships having to maybe redesign, some of their operations. We have this, I call this snowball of change. I mean, look, guys, we as an industry, we changed more in the last 3 months than we probably have in the last 30 years combined, as far as being more customer centric, instead of saying like, nope, there's only one way to buy a car from me. This is the only way. You have to come into my dealership and you have to follow my 12 steps. Now we're like, oh, okay, well, you know what? People can't come into the dealership. So we're gonna have to develop out different ways for the customer to engage with us. And I think that's beginning to trickle down. I want to keep the snowball of change going. And I think one of the biggest changes that we need to make in our dealership is the way we pay our team. And I'd love to kind of get you guys' thoughts on that. So, Fredrick, I'll start with you, and then Lou, I'll kind of ask you the same question. Kind of, what's your kind of thoughts and opinions and feelings on the commission or typical, sales payroll or sales, what the hell am I trying to say?
Oh, the pay plan? The
pay plan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of that real quick.
Pay plan.
Jeez.
Boom. All right.
I need another cup of coffee. Go ahead.
I do too, Jason. We're still brewing right now. It's getting over it up. But you're right. It's so different. Like, I think that when it comes to pay plans, it really comes down to what your product is. When you're a new franchise store, and a franchise store these days, they compete. If you're, let's just bring Chevy up. Chevrolet, if you're a Chevy store, within a 100-mile radius, there might be 3 or 4 other stores. So you're competing pretty deep. And you're always constantly like, hey, this guy's going to hit this, this customer's calling in. This dealership promised me invoice minus this. So it's hard as a salesperson to make a commission on a new car. So when you're, so that is when I think that when it comes into having a slightly different pay plan for new car salespeople, it can really benefit you when it comes to like maybe like a stair step up to where like so many units you end up getting bonuses or whatnot. That can really help really well. Now, Lou and I, we've been for the last 7 years, been at a strictly just pre-owned store. And our pre-owned store, I think that it's a little bit on the opposite end. When it comes to the commission side, if we pay them flats, I think I would have my big guys leave because they prefer to make the commission. So I think it really comes down to the store. Now, when you're talking about the way the world is trending right now, I think that, yes, I think that the way pay plans I've seen out there change around, people are getting more salaries, they're getting bonuses, they're doing, and I've seen where hours are getting less, like they're starting to shift it up. And Lou and I, we've actually talked about and strategized on this next generation of people coming into the business. We need to be prepared for that because right now it's like 30% of this next generation is working in this business. Within the next 7 to 10 years, you're talking 70 to 80% of this generation is going to be in the business, and they're going to be in a lot of major positions in this business. So these people, from what I understand, I'm not in a generation, they like to work 30 hours a week to maybe 40 at the very most. Now that doesn't sound like a car guy, and that's not, at least not the one that we're used to, right?
What we know.
That's not the bell to bell that we're used to, right?
Right. But these people, they're so effective with those hours that's what they want to do. And they want to have that time off. They want to be able to hang out with their friends, go throw axes at the axe bar, whatever they want to do. They want to have fun and they want to go on vacations. They want to do these things. So if we can find a way to maybe, like Lou had a great idea, and I think this is an amazing idea, was to, and a lot of people from our school, the old school, flooding a showroom with a ton of salespeople can be scary because a lot of salespeople start getting frustrated. Like, man, I don't have enough for myself. But with this new generation, you can do like half shift. So you can really bring in, let's say you have an average 10 people on your floor. Now you can put 15 to 20 people on your floor, splitting up shifts because people want to work less hours. And then you pay them salary, you pay them bonuses for hitting so many units, you give them incentive for working a little bit more, but they can make their minimum and they're happy with that.
And it depends on what their function is.
That's
true. It depends on if
they're
waiting for people to show up because the BDC is setting appointments for them, or if they're physically present, being the BDC themselves, being the ones that are generating. But I'll let you keep going and I'll break down.
No, and that's a great point. I'm glad you said something about that, Lou. Is that There is dealers. A majority of dealers now are going to BDCs. They're using them and they're great. You know, BDCs are very strong. I've heard people talk about you got to have a BDC because they're a left brain, and then you got to have your sales floor because they're right brain. But Lou and I, just so you guys know out there, when we train our salespeople, we teach them to be their own BDC. We teach them how to get strong on the phones, because today's world, you got to be good on social media. You have to be strong on the phones. You know, lot ups are becoming less and less, especially with this whole COVID thing. You're not going to see them as much. Even if they do, they're riding through and they're like, hey, you know, I don't want to, you know, and it, you know, because, you know, we've been going through a wave of this, you know, it's been dropping and then the numbers go back up. So things are changing. States are opening, then reclosing, and then going back a phase or whatever. So you have to go with the times. And I'm going to tell you, it's these things, the dealers that are doing this now, that are making these adjustments for all this type of stuff, they're doing really well. And I think that they're going to be doing even better as it opens up. A lot of people are like, well, it's going to go back to normal. No, it's going to.
We don't want it to go back to normal for sure, right?
It's always going to different.
Yeah, like we need that snowball of change continue to move through our industry. I mean, Fredrick, for yourself, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, you know, we started in this business. It was bell to bell. All right.
Oh,
there was no guarantees. I had no guarantee.
Oh, none.
Like there was none. All right. It was just you took home what you killed. That was it. Like
that's it. You're right, Jason.
Like I can't tell you. I mean, some days I'd show up there for a 10-hour day, not sell a damn car. I wouldn't make a penny. You know. So, Lou, what do you think about this, man? Should we continue to do this, or should we change this bad boy?
Well, I think that it depends on how it is that you're setting yourself up to succeed with your dealership. What is it that you're actually trying to get out of each person that's working for you? The biggest function of the salesperson, the car buying coach, the consultant, whatever title it is that they have, they're the actual producer in most cases. They are the actual revenue point inside of the dealership. And I'm big on the philosophy of building relationship over revenue, because your revenue is going to come based off of your relationships. And anytime that you're hiring somebody, you want to make sure that they do feel like they're coming to a good place. You want to make sure that they're coming into an environment where they can grow. And me also understanding that there were a lot of stigmas and there were a lot of things that I did not like about the car business, but I liked the money.
The money,
you know what I mean? There was a lot of things that caused tension in the home, but my wife did like buying whatever she wanted. Right? It is a lot inside of a weight and balance. But as you grow and you get into leadership positions and you get the chance to actually have a say and create a floor, hire and fire and train up people, you start to notice, hey, these are the things that are motivating your soldiers. You know, in the military, you always have to know your soldiers, know what motivates them. About 3 years ago, we really focused in on putting out there that we are the best place to work. We actually are the only dealership in the state of Kentucky that have 3 years in a row won one of the best place to work stamps. So we have that, and our customers know that. And inside of that understanding, it created a big flood of people wanting to apply, wanting to work with us, which was great, which is exactly what we wanted, right? As far as car guys and car gals all throughout the land, they're in such a revolving door culture. And that's something that I wanted to break. We were proud to have the same team in place for, years of the management team for our dealer group. Between Freddie's store and my store, it's been the same team for the past 7 years. And that is an anomaly, right? We have a great system to keep our morale in the right place. But when hiring people, we started to notice that, well, some of the people that are making the transition from whatever they're doing, they're working 35 to 40 hours. They may be making between $2,500 to $3,500 a month. We're not getting professionals that are already great at a craft. We're getting people that are moldable, that are enthusiastic and ready to win, just like I was, just like Fred was, right? And what we noticed was that telling them, hey, you can make $100,000 when they didn't know what it was like to make 40, it started to become a reality that they didn't get. Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Now, a few people would be hitting those numbers, but we started to see where to adjust the motivation. So I had a guy on my floor, his name was Chris, and he was a 14 to 16 car a month guy. We'll just call him 15, right? He was a 15 car a month guy. And the discussion was how much time it's taking from him. Okay, great, Chris. Well, let's talk about this. You get to 20 cars. I guarantee you're at least getting this one weekend off a month. I'll let you plan more vacations. Get to 20 cars. Well, that unlocked something inside of him. Once giving him a few more tools, a little bit more training and stuff like that, where he jumped up to a 30 car a month guy, taking his time off, had more time off than anybody, to where he began being the person that was able to take a vacation and still outsell the floor while he wasn't present, which was a fantastic trend to have. And, it annoys the guys on the floor, but it also gets them to understand, I got to put in the work.
Yeah,
I got to do this.
Yes.
So what we started to do was we started to bring people in on the interview side and say, hey, what are you making now? What do you need to make? I would usually up that for a 90-day period, because I believe that in 90 days, I can take somebody from mowing grass to being a pro at doing this if they just listen, right? They don't try to get through their 1.5 month of now they know everything, right? They've had a little success, made more money than they've ever made in their life, and now they can do. No, just keep listening, do what it is that you're told, take this training again and again and again. And we started to make them an offer for what it was that they wanted to make, plus a little bit more for the first 3 months. Now, as soon as they noticed that they were getting paid more profit share or commission than what their guarantee was, they wanted to make the switch. And we said, now, once you make that turn, it's over from there.
That's it.
But also inside of those 90 days, we knew whether or not we had somebody we wanted to keep and that could do it. So we did have goals, quotas, so on and so forth that they had to reach. But we put them at ease at knowing you're going to have money coming in. You're going to be able to take care of your one kid or pay your apartment, pay your car payment, all those other things. Give them a guarantee for a little bit. Show them what commission looks like. Say, hey, this is what you actually made. You want to make the switch? Make that switch and then see them take off from there. And now we have guys that are doing great. But I am a firm believer that profit sharing is key. And where the biggest problem that I saw in the new car dealerships that we would be a part of, and I ran a new Nissan store, is that there isn't sometimes the profit share of the big bulk of money.
You don't have any control over the profit. That's the thing. I mean, that's what I love. That's what I love about some of these pay plans. It's like, we're going to pay you on the profitability, but hey, by the way, you have no control over that. And look,
we're selling them at invoice.
Neither does the manager. Neither does the salesperson. I'm confident that with the people that you bring in, that you are going to spend the time to develop them and coach them and turn them into the salespeople that they should be. Unfortunately, guys, let's call it for what it is. Most dealerships don't do that. All right. What they do is instead of developing and coaching, they just modify their pay plan just a little bit more. It's like they have a goal and objective. Well, we need to sell more of this. Okay, well, let's just change our pay plan. So, for the guys to make any more money or the women to make any more money, they have to do ABC. So I think what it is we have to first define what our goals are, and then work backwards to create the pay plan that's going to help us support the goals. And in the past, the goal was really simple: make frickin' money. That's why I got in the business, right? Was make freaking money. But I think what we've learned, though, especially from much larger, more successful companies, is that the experience the customer has will give you the ability to make more money. And so you might be able to make more money on that one singular transaction, but you give them an experience and they continue to come back for that experience. And they go out and at the dinner party, they're talking to their friends and they're like, well, would you do this last weekend? Oh my gosh, let me tell you about this amazing company that I went and visited and I just had this amazing experience. I mean, I saw a buddy of mine posting one of his reviews the other day and the guy never even bought a car from him.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't buy a car from him, but the customer had such an amazing experience with that salesperson that, they felt convicted enough to go online and actually put a review out there from somebody they didn't even buy anything from.
Beautiful thing.
And I don't believe that customer enjoyed that experience that much because the person they were dealing with didn't like where they worked, right? It's so key that that person loves where they are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be on the customer. I can't tell you how many times that I've heard in dealerships that we've traveled to, the person that's taking that up saying, oh, we got these traveling guys here and this sucks and I hate that and I got to work all these hours. Them sitting there pour out their heart of how much they hate their life or their job. and that customer is not getting motivated or excited, right? I mean, the people at Disney look like they really love being there. And so that it's part of the experience that you get to have when you're the paying customer there, that they love being in this magical land. Yeah. I love being in this magical land, right? That experience is key, that the experience of the employee is conducive to them pouring out a fun-filled excitement, no matter whether the person buys or not. And that is a key, that the culture inside of the dealership or the store or the business, whatever it is, the employees actually like being there and have fun. Otherwise, they can't put that onto anybody else. They will put on whatever they're feeling.
I want to throw another one at you real quick. And Fredrick, I'll start with you, and then Lou, I'll kind of ask you the same. Look, you guys have actually said it a couple times throughout this, is the importance of creating a relationship, right? And I've been told that throughout my entire career, all right, relationship selling, create the relationship. I always find, though, early on in my career, though, the point of creating a relationship was to benefit me. So it wasn't really a relationship. It was kind of it's like, okay, I'll create I'll get chummy with you, and I'll have some fun with you, and I'll have some laughs, and I'll ask you about your kid's sports team just so you can buy a car from me. But if our expectation is that our salespeople do create legitimate relationship with these people, then is those pay plans kind of holding that back? I mean, guys, as a salesperson, I knew what gross profit was in every single car on my lot. Like, I knew. Yeah. All right. I knew someone came in looking for a used pickup, and I had 17 used pickups up there. I knew exactly which one I was going to go out and show them. Like, come on, let's admit it. I was going to admit it. I was not going to show them the one that they put in the damn ad, because I knew I'm going to make like $200 on the stupid thing. I'm going to show them that cream puff that we just took it on trade, that had 2,800 in gross in it. Like, I'm going there. Like, that's where I'm going, right? So that doesn't necessarily seem relationship selling, when I'm the one, because of my pay plan. I mean, it's not my fault. It's not the salesperson's fault. They're doing what they got to do to provide for their family. The pay plan says, like, you're going to make more money on cars that have more profit in it. Why would they not push the customer to that? That doesn't seem overly like a great relationship, but I want to kind of get your thoughts on this. Fredrick, I'll start with you, and Lou, I'll ask you the same question.
Man, that's a great question, actually, Jason. And you're right. When you're building a relationship with people, if you're being selfish in it, where you just know you could take advantage of it, is that really a relationship? And no, that's not. You're right. All you're doing is you're doing the stereotypical, I'm going to hammer a guy, I'm just going to push him, make him feel like I like him, and then I'll forget who he is. I totally understand that. What I believe is that it's a mentality thing. Yes, we all want profit and we all want these things, but at the same time, what we train and what we work on, even with ourselves, is that we don't sell cars anymore. We really don't. When people come to us, we're trying to solve a problem. Right. Whether you sell them, whether you deliver a car, none of that really matters. When they walk in the door, when you're really attentive, just saying, hey, what is the actual problem that you're having, and what can I do to solve that for you right now? When you really believe that, the relationship will form. So whether you're out there trying to put them on a car that that you're $4,000 behind book in, that you can make all kinds of money at, or one that you're heavy in, and the difference, at the end of the day, when you're sitting there and you're actually figuring out what they need, and then you show them the vehicle, whether it's the one with more profit or not, and you show them the vehicle and it has those needs and wants, then you're doing everything you can. It's a huge world in this car business, and there's a lot of ways that you can move metal. There's so many different ways, and there's so many different types of customers. I believe there's 5 different types of customers, but there's those 5, when they come in, when they sit down, you're trying to figure out what they want and what they need. I've come to find is that there's the intenders and then there's the unintenders, right? So when you're coming in, somebody's coming on the lot and they're like, hey, I only want this type of truck and I got to have it this way. That's not the same as somebody who's coming in, hey man, I need a reliable 4-door truck, or whatever it is. Those are 2 different types of clients. You have to be treated completely different. So we as salespeople, we have to still solve that problem. So when you become a problem solver instead of a salesperson, which you still got to be a salesperson in a sense, but you still got to just really truly believe, hey, I'm here to solve your problem, and I really love helping people. Let me just help you today.
No, Fredrick, I love the fact that you're like, let's solve the problem. But I'm going to push you a little bit on this one, man.
Okay.
If our pay plan is more about me solving my problem because I got that older piece of inventory over there. So, I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
like how do we balance this? Like, I'm with you. I want to be there for the customer. I'm going to put the customer at the center of it. All right. But I know on that older piece of inventory over there, my manager just said there's a $300 bonus on it. You know, like, how do I not, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's just human nature. I mean, I want to solve the guy's problem. All right. But I can solve the guy's problem and maybe a little bit of my own problem if I go show this one. Right. Continue, Fredrick.
And you're right, you know, but you know, the one thing that overcomes all this, you know, whether you're looking for the gross is volume. You know, you have to move a lot of you move a lot of units. The numbers always work themselves out. So that's why, to me, you know, and you're right. You know, if I was on the floor, there's no doubt. You tell me I have a bonus on this car, that's the first car I'm going to show everybody that walks on the lot, right? That's just going to be natural habit. Can't help it. But like you said, to eliminate that, where you're just really truly trying to be for that person, you know, and that person that's in front of you is like, gosh, you know, it's, I'd love that you hit me with this question because it's so hard because I'm a gross guy. I can't help it. I love profit, but at the same time, I do love to help people. So it really comes down to me. Gosh, bless, how do I answer this? It really comes down to somebody when they are in front of me and let's say I'm working the desk and I have a salesperson come to me and they're like, hey, this customer is looking for this type of vehicle, this type of vehicle, this type of vehicle. The way for pay plans to work out that way is to make sure that they understand that volume is key, that they understand that the more you move, the numbers will average themselves out. So it's not about the car you're selling. And I know that can be hard for somebody like me. I know I'm going to be like, yeah, still cool boss, but which one's the one that makes the most money, right? But I don't know. I'm going to pass that on.
Look, guys, this is what I'm asking, right?
No, because I love that you asked me that question. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to answer this one.
It's a tough one. I mean, Lou, what's your thought? I mean, we want to create those relationships. We want to, like Fredrick was saying, we want to be those problem solvers.
We do.
You know, does our structure of commission hinder us from that ability? What do you think, Lou?
Well, the approach that we took with trying to make sure that we stopped having salespeople dance around that car that has been there for 60 days, right? You know, everybody knows that one over there, right? And we partook inside of traveling the nation. And when we showed up, everything was fresh to us. So that old age inventory, there'd be a couple bonuses on. We'll make sure that gets out of there and it's gone, right? Where the guys that are at the dealership knew that car's been there for 120 days. That car had a birthday, you know, all of that stuff.
A birthday, yeah.
But so what we did was we shifted a little bit and we said, okay, let's take the average commission across the entire store, everybody's average commission. So of course you have the higher, you have the lower, that average commission. We took that bonus or that spiff and said, hey, look, this is what you're going to make if you sell this 90-day-old unit. If there's a 90-day-old unit here, you're going to make the average commission, you know, whether it's 500, 700, whatever it was for that year, you're going to make that bonus. So one, to take away the dance around the car that is depreciating fast, right? And book is dropping on. That was to get that out of there. But the key piece of training was actually trying to make sure that there was an understanding in the shift of a long-term car guy or car gal that your actual relationship is going to be what feeds your revenue. So yes, you may go ahead and target that one car that'll pay you, you know, $1,000, shake the hand, make the grand and move on. But that kind of person, you want all of their friends to come back in. And the person that stays on the lot and is there for a year, 2 years, and they start to see that referral business start really coming in, that repeat business really coming in again.
That's crucial.
Those are the key seeds that need to be sown at the time that you're in front of them. So trying to remove the barrier of I'm focused on straight commission. No, look at finding out what they want, because if you don't actually find out what they want and what they're trying to achieve and have them completely convinced that you're the right person to help them get that, well, they're not going to explain that to their friend. They're going to explain to the friend, they had this nice car, he sold it really well, said a lot of great things about it, and I bought it and I got my head beat.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, they're going to explain, oh no, he actually was asking me questions. He veered me away from that one car, and though that might have been the smaller commission on that end, the culture of understanding, I'm still going to probably see about 3-4 of their friends in the next couple of months that are going to buy. Understanding that you have to sow those seeds in relationship before you worry about focusing on what you're going to sell them, which is where the concept of we solve problems, we don't just sell cars, really has really taken a key, because we have to let the one that's working to show them the right direction that, look, I'm not here to sell you something, I'm here to help you buy it. And so this is the tools you're giving me, this is the ability you're giving me, and this is the direction I'm going to point you in. That building that trust is awesome, because there's still a lot of decision-making patterns you have to get off of a customer before they can make that right decision, right? So you can't do that unless that relationship is built properly. So your heart has to actually make the shift to say, I actually do want what's best for the customer, because if I do what's best for the customer, eventually that customer is going to do what's best for me. When a car guy conversation comes up, I want to be the guy that they point to. Hey, I got a guy, and he actually cared and listened to what I said. And though I wanted this one car, he shifted me over here, and it actually turned out better for me. Go take a go.
Well, that's what a good consultant does. But that consultant wasn't trained to do that. That consultant was convicted to do that. That was a personal thing. That's true. Right?
That's true.
But here's what we do in our industry. We hire superstars, not team members. Do you know what I mean? Like who's not looking for the next 30 car a month guy or gal, right? Like we want superstars. But we you know what it is? It's like on this hand we're like, I want a superstar, and then on this hand they're like, but team is really important to me. So it's like I want my team, but I also need my superstars, and it's just like it's just a lot of conflict there, right? I'm going to throw
the great thing about great superstars, just to add in that, not to interrupt.
Well, they should be good they should be good team members, right?
Exactly. They should be Michael Jordans that help raise the level of everything. And what I've noticed over the years is that if you keep having and keep focusing so much on that superstar, eventually that star shoots out, right? That star leaves, and there goes their 30 cars. You know what I mean? And instead of having it blanketed to where you have a team of horses that all can transition in and out.
But you're going
to have a guy.
But we're very fortunate. We have guys like Lou and I and the rest of our management team. When we do training, it's real training. I mean, it's like we really help these guys from every step of the way. We make sure that every step of the sale, the process of the sale, the road to the sale is trained thoroughly. They understand each one of those steps and why. It's a feature and a benefit when we train them. Hey, this is the step one, and this is why it's important, and let me show you why. We do all this stuff to make sure that these guys understand that, because, like you said, the pay plans, they are different all across the nation right now, and I honestly don't have a disagreement with any of the pay plans. I think that whatever works best for your dealership, whatever process is the way that it works for you guys, is the way you should do it. And I think that when it comes to what motivates your people, you know best, right? You know how your floor is, you know how your region is, you know what your market is, what you're selling, who you're selling to, so it really comes down to that. Now, I totally agree that things need to change in this business. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why you're doing the Strategy Mob right now, just like we're doing our Car Guy Coffee podcast, is that this business, there is maybe 10 to 5% of people who are doing it right. And that's it's crazy.
100%. And that's why we have to have these conversations. Look, they're not fun conversations had.
No, they're not.
Like they do feel that people they will make people feel a little uncomfortable around having these conversations, but they are important. I want to throw one at you guys because I've been consulting a lot with dealerships recently on this, right? And, again, what it all came back to, when I think of a pay plan, it's like I first have to define what the goal and objective is. And I'll tell you, most of the time when I go into a dealership to help them develop out a pay plan, the goal and objective usually has numbers associated with it. Lots and lots and lots of numbers. And I'm like, let's go back even farther. Like, what is the real goal and objective? What is your, how do you want to be perceived by people out there? What's your goal there? Let's start there. Let's build a pay plan off of that, and the numbers will kind of fall along with it. So I have a handful of dealerships, and actually this is interesting because I have a couple of used car dealerships that are doing this, where the goal has been relationship. Like, that is at the core of everything. They want to create that relationship. So what we ended up doing was we actually took the salesperson's role and the service advisor role, and we actually molded them together. So the person you buy the car from is the same person that you come to get the vehicle serviced from. So you think about that continued development of that relationship. All right. I have a handful of dealerships now that are in almost year one. They've just, I think, around the 10 or 11th month mark that they've been doing this. And the amount of referrals have already incrementally increased. Because, you create this amazing relationship with the customer, in buying one of the largest purchases they're ever going to make. Then I hand them off to, Julie in the back, who's our service advisor, and I never barely see the person again. Maybe every once in a while we run into each other in the service lounge. We're like, oh, hey, how's it going? What's your name again? Oh, yeah. I sold you. You sold me that $80,000 car last year, and you don't remember who the hell I am.
And you don't remember my name.
You don't remember my name either, right? So, I'm seeing some new, unique concepts, right? These people are also paid. They're on payroll. So they get paid a salary because there's a defined expectation as far as what the relationship and the process should be. I learned from a manager years ago, one of the first managers. Actually, I learned a lot of bad things from this manager. But one of the things I did learn that has always stuck with me is that you never manage the people. You manage the process. You let that process manage the people. Okay, that's cool. So then I have to develop a process that will give them the ability to create a legitimate relationship. And so I've been pushing dealerships to do that, but I'd love to kind of get your guys' thoughts. I've never actually talked about this in a podcast. This is kind of fun. But what do you guys think of this hybrid of me taking the sales and service and shoving it together?
Crazy, man. I want to go first because here's why I want to bring it up. It's genius, Jason, just for one. It's genius. I was on Fixed Op Mastermind, and they had me as a special guest recently, and they kind of talked about they brought up service reps, and I talked about how they're salespeople and how that the relationships between a service rep and a salesperson needs to become way better because it's always been front of the house, back of the house. I don't like them. They always try to make me, but when you can do what you just talked about, when you can make it, wow. I mean, think about that. I mean, that relationship with that customer becomes so much more broad. It's not just the sell point and then every time they buy a car or every time they sell something, but every time they need an oil change, every time they need new tires, they need just their, they want to just have rotation of their tires, whatever it is, they have a point of contact. That was the person they originally bought from, that they built a relationship with. They've built all that trust with to say, yes, I'm going to do this on the dotted line. Jason, I think
right,
that
guys. I mean, look, it really does create that car guy, car gal, right?
Yes.
It creates that person, where it's like they're my
so
car
amazing.
person. They're just
I love it.
That's
my car guy.
who it is, and you guys are 100% right.
My brain's going like crazy right now. Just that I don't know how I didn't think of that already. I mean, that is
inside of our store. So we're all used, and we don't have a service business. Right. So we have an entire
we better talk about that then.
Department that takes care of our cars, just our cars. We do the maintenance on our cars, do the work on our cars, the oil changes, so on and so forth, to put our cars and make them ready. Right. But our actual car buying coaches are the stewards of whatever has to happen that we're agreeing to do after the fact.
Yep.
After that, for the most part, customers on their own. We tell them, hey, go build a relationship with a Nissan dealer, with the Ford store, go build that relationship with them.
That's
we
how we
encourage them to go do that, right? So I believe that right there, that whole concept is exactly what a customer
the future,
wants.
bro. Jason, that's the future, man.
Guy, right? Because they say, hey, this is what's going on in my car. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just do the paperwork.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that reminds me of, remember those old Badger commercials? And the guy's like, and they're in the service lounge, and they're like, do you know when my car is going to be ready? He's like, I don't work on cars, I sell cars.
I love that Badger.
Exactly.
Always with his little cup.
But it does. I find the relationship in the service and the sales, the cool thing is that, they might get to the point where, like, look, the guy's had the car for a few years. The brake job is going to have to get done. They're going to need a new set of tires, but they can have that legitimate conversation, that real conversation of like, hey, Mr. Customer, we've been working together for a while. This is what this thing's going to look like. Maybe we should trade this bad boy in and get another one. But they feel confident that they can have that because they know the history of the car. They've been in there for service. Parts, guys, you should see the increase in parts and accessory sales. Because when you
I
need
can only
when you
imagine.
need floor mats, who you call your car guy
Right.
or guy. If
Oh, yeah.
you need a set of winter tires, you call your car guy, your car
If
gal,
your friend
right?
needs it, I mean, that's
what it
I'm over here
is.
thinking of how many other ways this builds the new.
I mean,
relationship.
imagine like even people who just come in for service, how you can start building a relationship with them to be able to move a unit. It's genius. I mean, I'm telling you, my mind's going crazy with this right now, Jason.
I'm only thinking of the concept of time, the dual job that
But
would create.
if you're paying them on both sides of the house,
right.
there
You're getting paid on both sides of the house.
They're not going to really miss so much. They're gonna, and they may find that they're better at service at that type of stuff, which in turn it's gonna. I like that.
I found that what it has is it's actually turned into better car guys and gals.
Yes.
Because they're intimate on the service side. Now their knowledge of the service side and their presentation and the sell of the vehicle is just insanely stronger.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Way
like,
stronger.
and I'll tell you this, their closing rates higher. The customer confidence is just higher, right? When you're able to look a customer in the face and say, look, you buy this car, it's you, it's me for the next 5 years, baby. Right?
And beyond.
Right? You need anything. You got any questions on this? I'm the person you call. Not let me spend 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 or 12 hours in building this relationship so you can buy one of the largest purchases and then hand you off to somebody else. Let me keep that in there. You know what it is I think dealerships during this pandemic, and I'm hoping that this snowball change continues, is that they're beginning to realize that this whole silo mentality has to stop.
It does.
It's not good, for us as operations. I actually think it's less efficient, and it's not great for the customer. The customer has to deal with almost 4 different people before they make a freaking purchase.
That's crazy.
And then it gets handed off to somebody else. I got to talk to the BDC person. I got to talk to the salesperson. I got to talk to the sales manager. I got to talk to the F&I manager. And I know a lot of people out there have already combined sales and F&I. Which I'm all for on that one as well. I think what it was is. The cool thing is that the hours of that salesperson, because they have their relationship managers now, real relationship managers. See, we've used that term in the past before, right? But we kind of no, you're not really.
Yeah.
You're here
Sounds good.
You're here to manage a relationship for about 4 or 5 hours during a transaction, then you toss it off. But now they really become relationship managers, and the cool thing is we can pay them to be relationship managers, right? So they can focus on their portfolio. The reason I went for this and I pushed for this is that, I'm not sure you guys remember this too. When you first started in the business, there was always that old guy in the back that had his Rolodex, but only showed up to work like 3 days a week. You know which one I'm talking about? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he was golfing 2 or 3 days and then came in and still managed to sell 20 cars a month. I was like, well, how the hell? I want to be that guy, right?
Yes.
But what that guy did is he spent years creating relationships, real legitimate relationships, right? And I just figured, we have a hard time doing that. Fredrick, you were talking about earlier, new people coming in to the business, I mean, they really think they're going to invest 10, 15 years to create a relationship so they get to that point where they're like that older guy who can go, golfing for 2 or 3 days, No,
they're not. But here's what's neat about today's world. When we all came in, the internet, social media was basically non-existent. It's so powerful now. You can really, in a year's time, even if you just average 10 to 15 a month, in a year's time with that many clients, and you put every one of them with a testimonial online, you put every one of them and you give them a thank you video right back. You put pictures of them. You do everything you can. You send birthday notifications through social media. You do all this stuff on this one free tool that you have, or multiple free tools. It can really help you build that relationship quick. Not to mention all the people who are going to see those feeds of all those testimonials, and they might see their friend, and they don't even need to be told. They see that their buddy bought a car because they were, hey, look, John bought a car yesterday. Oh, he bought it from Fred, the subprime hero. Oh my God, he had a great time. And I know he was struggling looking for a car. Man, I am too. If he could buy one, I should be able to buy one. I've been working at that job longer than him, so on and so forth. So that is the power of today, if you do it right. But the problem is, we talked about it a moment ago, 5 to 10% of people do it right. The rest of them, they do it once and then it didn't work and they quit doing it. And, so they just keep doing it the wrong way, and they keep going, and they just hope and they float by and they make it happen. They keep at their 8 cars a month and they think that it's going to be fine when they could build that 8 cars just by 10 minutes extra work per deal. That's it. Just like that, you could really build it up really big. I have a few guys that work for us, team members that are really getting big on social media, and some of my other team members are starting to follow suit because these guys are to that point. I have one guy been in the business right at about a year, another one 3 years. They teamed up to form the Dream Team. These two guys are using social media so deep right now that they don't really make a lot of, their ups are just coming in. People are seeing them online. They're like, hey, I want to see the Dream Team. I want to come in and visit with them. They look like a lot of fun. They do a lot of stuff that just no one else is doing. And so that is what separates. And that's a way to build relationships fast now. Now that still takes work though. It takes work, a lot of work. But I believe what you're talking about, being able to turn a sales consultant and a service department rep into one, molding it into one, and being able to build relationships in multitude of different ways, not just from the sales side, but also from the service side. But then there's sales and service too. So there's so many things. Thus is why a good salesperson would crush it in service, and then a good service rep will crush it in sales. So it's good to be able to.
And it relieves that tension between the two.
I love it, man. I don't know why I'm going to be talking about it at work. I really love the idea, Jason.
Well, I mean, guys, think about it. It's for a franchise dealership out there, right? Look, they're complaining like crazy how there's no one coming in through the door, yet service did 1,200 CP work orders last month. Like,
there's opportunity
what are you talking about? I mean, people are coming through the door. You're just staring at the wrong damn door.
Exactly. That's right.
There's no doubt.
That's going to be the clip right there. That's going to be my cut clip right there.
That needs to be the clip. That's a great, because it's so true, Jason. I honestly believe that you are onto something really big here. I think that as time will tell, and I think when you see it another year in, it's going to be probably the thing. Now, and whatever I could do to help talk about this for you, I will push it. And obviously I'll give you full credit all the time for that, because it's a great idea. And I definitely think that people need to be more open to that. Matter of fact, next week when I'm on do you deal with Fixed Op, David Foy and all them at all?
Hey, yeah. I know David. We've been connected for a long time.
Oh man, you need to get up on. You need to go on Tuesday nights. They do a mastermind thing. You need to get on there and talk to them about that. That would blow their minds. They would just like, just like I am right now.
I'll reach out to David. I'll throw him a little curveball. I'm like, all right, man, here you go. What do you think of this?
You should. Yeah, it's a great idea, Jason.
Well, look, that's about maintaining. Right, our employees, and I know we're getting toward the tail end of our time, but you guys had mentioned something earlier in our conversation, and I wanted to bring it back up because I think it's so incredibly important, especially right now, is bringing in new talent. And look, for us, right, promises and guarantees of six-figure incomes and all money. I mean, like, I remember my first manager used to walk around with a roll of $100 bills in his pocket. Yep. And it was literally my goal and objective every single day I went in there is to take as many of those out of his pocket as I possibly could, right?
Yes,
but that's what motivated us. Like, we're motivated by that. I'm like, six-figure income, I'm in. Let's do this, right? Yes. Working 10 hours a day, every single day. I had no beef with that, right? Then I got married. Then I had 3 kids. That's not easy, And so I'm looking for, a population of people out there that are looking for a new career because maybe they got laid off, right? But they got families. So there's one section. There's that one group of people right there. Then, a whole other group of people that just finished their schooling, and all these companies are not hiring right now, all right? Or they got promised an internship, or they got promised something, and everyone had to take it back from them. I think there's a whole pool of new talent out there, but how do we attract that? I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Lou, I'll start with you, and then Fredrick, I'll ask you the same question.
I think that to really make sure that you give them the understanding that there's something to be sought after in this business is that you let them know the benefits of what it is that you've had, right? Whether it's the homes, the cars, the vacays, but then you also explain to them, again, I'm going to keep coming back to the relationship, the way that your relationship is with your home, with your wife. If you don't have a marriage or a relationship with your children that anybody wants to emulate, well, nobody's going to want to emulate it, right? Nobody's going to want to do that because when they leave the dealership, they got to go home to that. And that's what they want to be healthy, because if that's not healthy, you're going to find that it's going to trickle into the store. So being able to show them, hey, this is the great parts of it. as we always do, right? We're always going to highlight the great parts, but then have a good, honest understanding of, now these are going to be the parts where you're going to feel a bit of pain. You're going to feel a little bit of tension inside of your growth. And I'm going to tell you now, after I explain to you how to do this, and I explain to you the second time, and you don't do it, I'm telling you, you're not going to like the cut that comes onto you, right? You're not going to like that wheel of fabrication that creates the sharp sword, right? You're not going to like that being put on you, but it's going to come. Giving them the understanding that there's a great potential to do really great things here, but it's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take you sowing those seeds, but the benefits are going to far outweigh what you poured into it. But that it is not just that it's easy to be successful if you do the hard things right. And if you do those things, which is, again, building that relationship, I want you to go home and go to your kid's game. We want you to get out of here and go make sure you take your wife out for her birthday. You don't belong with that customer. As a matter of fact, hand that up over, go get out there and go do that, and show them that you care more about them succeeding in life rather than just succeeding on the sale board, right? Making sure that understanding gets to them will, one, not just get people to do the job very well, but give you people around you that you enjoy being around and that you enjoy celebrating with. We just had a guy had his first daughter was born. Yeah. And that's a big celebration for all of us, right? That's part of the family. And we're excited about that. And I gave him way too much time. I said, hey, take a couple weeks, take 3 weeks, take whatever. And he's like, whoa, hold on. I got to come back before that. I got to make money. Like, oh, okay, cool. Letting him know that I was behind him to do that, that's not something that we were given. You know, I was scared to take my lunch, right? I was scared. I didn't want to take my day off. And that kind of tension was always back at home. It always made it back home. I may have outsold everybody today, but I'm losing over here with the people that are important to me, and I can't keep throwing money at them. I need to actually be there. I need to be at the graduation for my kid that's graduating 6th grade. You know, whatever it is, we need to physically be there for that. So convincing people coming in that, because right now everybody's used to being home, right? A lot of people are used to being home for way too much time, right? Telling them, listen, you don't have to sacrifice that if you actually put in the time here. Because let's be honest, everybody, car guys, car gals, you might be there for 8-10 hours a day. You're probably only working 2.
Yeah, really working.
Somebody in front of you.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast just on that topic.
Right, we definitely. That's so right, Jason. You're right.
So letting them understand that, look, if you come here and you pour in your best effort into this little bit of window, you're going to be successful. You're going to have plenty of people in front of you, and you can actually have that time at home, which I want you to have, and give them the incentive of time, because that's the one thing I can't multiply.
Incentive
right? I can just say, here's your time,
most valuable asset,
and you're going to have the money. You're going to have the time to spend your money, right?
Yeah.
So
we can give you all the time, but if you're not making money, what's the time worth, right? So that's, and Lou's right. To touch on his point there is that it really comes down to that. It's about the way you build that up. Now, we talked about relationships earlier with your clients, but it's the same thing as a management team. You have to build relationships with your team. You have to understand what drives each person that you're dealing with on that floor. Because everybody's different. Like we talked about earlier, we're all about that 6 figures. We're all about, I'll put the hours in. I don't care. I need to do this. But there's a lot of people that it's not about the 6 figures to them. It's about just paying their bills and just being able to live and be able to have a few extra dollars to buy their pack of smokes or whatever that they need, right? They're happy with that. Now, we don't really want that in the car business. You want people who want more, but you also understand that there's still good salespeople out there that are okay with not having a lot of money. That just because you don't want a lot of money doesn't mean you can't be a good sales rep, a good car buying coach, or a problem solving person, right? You can still do those things extremely well. You're just not motivated by money. So the time thing becomes important. But that's when it comes down to is, if you do and you trust the process of your job and your boss, and you know you're in a good place and you're doing it, and you do this every single day, you will be able to afford that time. You will be able to have that extra time with your family. You will be able to do this. And not only that, when you have that extra time with your family, guilt-free extra time with your family,
that's right,
you're going to have that extra cash in your pocket to be able to go to the lake and we'll go riding on boats, or, go to Disney World whenever you for the first time with your kids, or whatever that you want to do. You'll be able to do that, but it takes work. You can't expect to put no work in and be able to take time off and be able to have extra money in your pocket. And that's something when we're hiring new people, you kind of talk about that. Listen, man, you like anything else in life, because it's kind of like life coaching in a sense. If anything else in life, you get what you put in. Right. If you come in here and you expect to just sit down at your desk and do the very minimal, you're going to get the very minimal in everything. But if you come in here every day, not just for a week, not just for 2 weeks, but for 90 days straight, and you work your butt off for 90 days, your first 90 days at my store, I promise you at the end of that, if you do it, you're going to make more money than you've ever made. And you're also going to have you're going to build that. You're going to earn that time off. And there's nothing better than earning that. I always tell the guys, you sell 20 cars a month, you write your own schedule. Fact. Until you stop selling 20 cars a month, right? But you really can write your own schedule, and it doesn't take long to get to 20 cars. I've seen guys do it in their first month because they came in and they did our process and they truly believed it. Right. I've seen guys who took a year before they got their brain right and they got their life together and they understand the process, right? It just all depends on each individual. And I think that,
and then you're right. It is about each individual. And I think that's really what we're talking about. Is like, if you want to attract new talent here, right? To both you guys' points, right? You need to know the individual.
Absolutely.
At my dealership, every single person's bonus was different because it was based on whatever the hell their goal and objective was. I had someone who was going to be having a child, and they were about 6 months out, and they wanted to take off time. I said, all right, how would you like to take 2 months off? Looked at me like, holy crap, I can't afford that. I said, yeah, you can. All right, here's the deal. All right, here's what the number I need you to hit at is. All right, you hit that, you're going to get a bonus. We're going to bank that bonus, and I'm going to match that bonus. All right, and at the end of the 6 months, you're going to have enough money to take 2 months off. In fact, actually, at the end of the 6 months, you had enough money to take 4 months off. But that's good. But that was customized for him as an individual. I remember I had another young gentleman in there, and I said, I always push. I really push. Like, why do you want to work? Like, what are you doing this for, right? And I kept getting the bullshit answer, the resume and the typical interview answer. It's like, I do this. No. Why are you really doing this? Guy tells me straight up, I want a jet ski. He's like, I want a jet ski. Like, he's like, he got a truck. He wanted a jet ski. He needed to work to get the jet ski. I said, all right, sweet. All right. Same thing. We're going to bonus you off. We're going to put that aside. We're going to get you the jet ski. And, he was probably 6 months away from getting the jet ski. He did it in 4. But that's not me just taking the time just to kind of just throw everything out there and just treat everybody the same. Everyone's different. Everyone needs a path. Like when I was doing subprime or special financing or non-prime or whatever the hell you want to call it. All right. My whole concept was about getting someone from where they were to prime. It was that path. Yes. And that's what I learned at that point in time when I was doing that as an F&I manager, that when I started managing people, that's what everybody wanted. They wanted a path. They wanted a direction. All right. They had goals and they needed to know how to get to it. I remember when I had my dealership, I had a young gentleman come in and interview for the lot attendant position. All right. Asked him, what do you want to do? He said, I want to own my own dealership. I'm like, okay,
pretty damn strong.
That's pretty damn strong. But you know what though? I think I spent more time in that interview, writing out the path that he would have to take, or at least some of my thoughts and opinions of what that path would take. All right, that guy was amazing. Best lot attendant I ever had because he knew he was working towards something. All right, he became a salesperson 9 months into it. 24 months after that, he became an F&I manager. And I got an email. Actually, no, he DM'd me, and now this is 8 years later, and he's a general manager of a dealership. And I'm like,
wow.
And
you're part of that path, man. And not to cut you off, Lou and I talk about legacy a lot, and that's part of your legacy. I mean, you really helped this guy, and whether you get praised for that or not, you're the one who showed him the path to prosperous life, right, where he wanted to be. And because you did that, it made it makes sense. It's like we talk about when you're talking to a customer, when you explain your process, you have to be able to explain it, and not only explain it, but explain it to a point where it's easy for them to understand. You can't make it overcomplicated. And when you did that for him, it probably went from lot attendant who's like, I want to own a dealership. But to him, it was like, man, who knows how to do that, but I want to. Then you just broke down a few easy steps for him. You do this, you do this, you do this. And one day that is something general manager, that's the next step. And he's right there. So amazing, man.
Yeah,
You
it
should go
was
really-
actually pretty cool because he actually hired us to handle the marketing for his dealership. So I thought it was hilarious.
You put that seed in early.
He
You know what I
reached
mean?
out to me and he was like, "Hey, it's Chris. Do you remember me?" I'm like, "Chris," and I said, "Wait, little Chris? What's good?" Because the guy was scrawny. He filled out. He built
out,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Car
filled out a
business
bit
do
in
that
the
sometimes,
last 8-9 years.
Jason, what I think you did there was that you took the person that was where they wanted to be. You had them you took the person who was who they were. You had them see who it was they wanted to be, say it, verbalize it, express it. And you showed them that there's a tool and there's a path to get there, and had them actually believe that it was possible, right? And because you were able to make that transition, and that he's able to go through that path, and many others, I'm sure you have plenty of others that have actually been able to grow and go where it is that they wanted to go. But they probably understood that, look, this could take 20 years to achieve. This could take 10 years to achieve, whatever the plan was. But you had them understand the same thing that our guys have to realize every day, that it's really not how much time you spend working, it's how much work you put into your time. And when you did that, he believed and he understood, and then he saw measurable steps. Like, we'll have guys that have never taken it. I know I never took a real vacation, right? Until I was in the car business and starting to see money. But I also didn't know how to do it right. I had to see other people do it right. And then I learned how to do it. So there's some guys that come into the car business that will incentivize, hey, this week, most appointments said is going to get a vacation. You guys, we're going to send you to here. We'll do it all up right. And,
got
and
$3,000
show them how to do it.
Wherever you want
now
to go.
they taste that. They can taste, and because they taste, they see, right? They see the goodness. And once then they're like, man, well, my wife wants to do that again, and well, you guys are going to do another spiff? No, you can sell 3-4 more cars. You're going to be able to do that yourself. And they start to understand that, whether it's giving them the gift card bonus for the Ruth Steakhouse, Ruth's Chris, whether or not it's them tasting different levels of success that they haven't yet known, that then gets them to understand there is more. And if I do really hone in on while I'm at work, I need to be working, which is the biggest distraction for car guys, I believe, is that they can get away with not working, just being there. And that's what has made us successful. If I'm going to be at work, I'm not going to be with the people that I prefer to be with. I'm going to be doing something that benefits them. Now, that is a mindset. That's a heart adjustment. That not everybody's the same way. Some people, I had a big check this week, and everybody will have that lay down. I'm going to lay down.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
But the difference between people that will jump up are those that are going to succeed by way of understanding that I only have this much time, and I can pour a lot of work into this time, and then I will gain all of this other time later. You know what I mean? And that's a concept that does need to shift. But the generation that's coming behind us right now is starting to see that there's a lot going on here. At the same time, I only know how to deal with people like this. So now giving them that concept of, okay, well, take that magical tool you have, and you can exponentially grow your prospecting in this business, where before we had to physically go meet people. We had to physically touch people. We had to physically be on the phone with them, where if you can get one person to share their experience with you, they're going to reach hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And you didn't lift a finger except ask them for the review. Ask them.
No, look, it's about finding out that path. And that's kind of really, for the most part, guys, what this entire podcast has really been about is, look, for any dealerships out there that are watching and listening right now, you want to make more money, all right? Then you need happy employees. Happy employees make happy customers. Look, we all agree. No, I've never run into anybody that disagree with me. In fact, if you do, please DM me. I got some 4-letter words for you. But
I got a few too. DM
which we've done a great job. Yeah. I haven't heard them flying. Right?
but no, when we put our pay structure, all right, in front of the customer, meaning that the pay structure is more important than the customer, then we got issues. And I think right now what it is we got to go customer first, pay structure second, all right? And that pay structure needs to be making your staff happy. If right now you're at a dealership right now and your pay structure is making about 3 or 4 of your people happy, you got problems. All right.
Yeah.
Every single person on your staff need to be happy. All right. Not one pay structure is the same for everybody. If you need to customize something, we just got done talking about that, right? Customize it to each individual. Happy staff make happy customers. Happy customers make better profitability. Hey guys, I know it's the tail end of our time today. But, before we go, all right, for everyone that's watching and listening right now and would love to connect with you guys and kind of follow along with your journey and your content. The content's amazing, guys. You got to check it out. What is the best way to do so?
Well, you can go to carguycoffee.com, and you can also search us out on any social media platform, Car Guy Coffee Podcast, Car Guy Coffee, Car Guy Cafe. You type it in anywhere, you're going to run into us.
No doubt.
Find Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And I'm Fred Lennartz, the Subprime Hero, and you'll find me everywhere from LinkedIn to Twitter. I mean, I'm everywhere. We're even on TikTok, so check it out. We get down on that thing a little bit.
But
Awesome.
carguycoffee.com.
I haven't checked that out, but I'm going to check that out because I want to see you guys
want a
get
cool
down.
mug, you can go to carguycoffee.store. And I mean, you can reach us anywhere you write Car Guy Coffee. You're gonna run into something that's
No doubt.
Awesome.
Coffee's for closers, folks.
That's right.
That's right.
Coffee is for closers. If you're in the States, you get your coffee from Lou and Fred. And if you're in Canada, you're getting your coffee from Strategy with Jason.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to jam with me today. This has
We
been a
appreciate it.
ton of fun. You guys have yourself an amazing day.
You too, man. We
Thank
appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy Mob podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to sign up to be a mobster at strategymob.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.